Your internet link is down. That might be because it's on fire. This is my all-time favorite interaction with tech support. Late one December evening a number of years ago, I got an unexpected call from my boss. He said there was a fire at the office, and I might want to come in and see what was going on. So I did. By the time I got there, the fire was on its way out, and I and a couple dozen others were standing around in the parking lot waiting for the firefighters to give us the all clear to enter the building. We had internet service through an awesome local ISP at the time, the kind of small company that really cared about service. While I was shivering next to a fire truck, my cell phone rang. It was one of their techs, whom I had shared an office with at a different company years ago and knew well. And GT, me, hello? And GT, tech, hi, this is $Tech from $I.S.P. Just wanted to let you know that our monitoring noticed your internet link is down, and we're working on it. And GT, me, that might be because it's on fire. Long pause then. And GT, tech, did you just say it's on fire? And GT, me, yeah, there was a fire in the building. I'm standing next to a fire truck right now. They aren't letting us in yet. Then, without missing a beat, Tech said something he never said at that ISP, remember, premium service. And GT, tech, well okay then. I'll assume the problem is on your end. Click. Despite the cold and the uncertainty, how badly damaged was the office, etc., I couldn't help laughing at the absurdity of it all. Because $I.S.P. was awesome. Less than 5 minutes later he called back to say, I just checked, and we have 2 portable generators that aren't in use right now. If you need them, just say the word, and I can have them there in 2 hours, anytime, day or night. No charge. Our contract with them had nothing in it about generators. And GT, well okay then. I'll assume the problem is on your end. I mean, he's not wrong. I can imagine that tech was tickled AF to be able to say that for once. I'd like to have an ISP of that kind. They seem to be really nice. Mine just called after about a month of and GT, 99% upstream utilization to ask if we know about it. Is it part of an attack even if it didn't result in any abuse reports? Do we want to upgrade? What the banana is going on? Good news. All our data is now up in the cloud. That's customer service. Then they were sold to national ISP and internet was coconut forevermore, as is tradition. Did the fire have anything to do with oil rags and old printer? Somebody reads my post history smile nope. Some piece of industrial machinery caused it. I never use those, I won't pay for it. It work for a small IT company providing website, email servers and web software. The interlocutor's kisses. And GT, $me, your dearest. And GT, $boss, boss of client company. And GT, $mom, co-boss of client company and also $boss's mother. After a few years of collaboration with $client, our accountant come to me saying the $client haven't paid the monthly fee for their website and mail server. Sometime clients forget to set up automatic transfer when they change bank or their accountant went on vacation and forgot to tell someone to do it. So I call then to know what happened, and GT, $me, hi, it's $me from $I.T. We haven't received your transfer from last month. Is there a problem? And GT, $mom, I don't know what are those fees. I won't pay for it. And GT, $me, these fees are for your website and your mail server. And GT, $mom, we don't use it. I don't want it. I won't pay for it. Click. Okay. You do not have to be this rude. So we send a registered letter with recorded delivery saying that if they do not pay until the end of next month we will have to shut down all their service. After a month and a little bit, still no transfer, we shut off everything. Sure thing. 30 minutes later we receive a call from $boss. And GT, $boss, my emails stopped working, you have to fix this please. And GT, $me, yes we shut off your server because you haven't paid your monthly fees for the last 2 months. And GT, $boss, what? But $mom is in charge of all the suppliers, she should have paid you. And GT, $me, no, she told us that you did not need our services and did not want to pay for it. And GT, $boss, she is crazy. We take care of all our invoices and contracts by emails. Without them we may as well close the company. I will take care of paying you personally from now on, but please start the server back on." So we did, and 20 minutes later one of his employee was at our door with a check for last 2 months and the upcoming one. And from this point he always paid us in time. I would not want to be that boss when he has to have an argument with his mother over nearly shutting the business down. Deleted. Nice story, happy ending, you got the money and the yelling was really short. Everybody wins. I worked as a one-man team systems admin for a smallish advertising firm once. One of my responsibilities was to manage an NEC phone system for them. I was working for them when they installed it, so I got to know their tech contacts and vendors fairly well. So after installing the system, calls on the analog phones, which comprised the sales floor, would intermittently drop calls, but only on the analog portion of the system. We had the NEC vendors come out and take a look, and they confirmed one of my suspicions. Some of the cables and power relays had worn out due to age and would need to be rewired and replaced in order to stop dropped calls. Instead, our CEO just decides to stop payment on the bills to the NEC vendors because he's convinced that it's their issue, and doesn't really seem to care or even listen when I tell him it's an infrastructure issue. Basically, he just didn't want to look like he didn't know what he was talking about, so he stuck to his guns. Cut to a few months later, where there really is a systems issue with the NEC. One of the modular cards had failed and I tried to call support. Oh yeah, not knowing that he had stopped payment, they refused to send out a tech until we rectify the billing. So the CEO doubles down and threatens to sue them because they still haven't fixed the first issue, says we'll find the card ourselves and have me, totally not NEC certified, install and program it. The card cost around $10 grand if you weren't a licensed NEC vendor. It would be free going through our NEC vendor because of the contract warranty. His stubborn coconut paid for it, and I began looking for another job. Found one and quit before the card ever arrived. I used to work for a company that had the opposite problem. We were paying bills for some things we hadn't used in 10 years just because the controller was afraid it was something we might be using after all, even when the people who used to use those services would try to convince him we had long ago switched to something else. Fortunately, none of it was anything that made a huge impact on the bottom line. You'd be amazed at how many households do this too. Magazines they don't use, streaming services they don't use, cable bills at old addresses, the list goes on. You'd think people would have a better grasp on their own cash outflows, but no. The oddest ticket I've ever worked. Sometimes, people pry apart my spreadsheets and tools and code for various reasons. And when they do, they find a hidden bit of code. I put it everywhere, as a sort of signature. People wonder what it is and they ask me. And I get to tell them this story. I was a Tier I remote support tech. This was one of my first officially IT jobs, and I was a young, fresh-faced, wide-eyed kid with a working knowledge of some kind of code and the ability to install Java with over a 50% success rate. Ring ring went the phone. I perked up. Another customer desperately in need, on the brink of disaster, had called upon me to single-handedly resolve their problem and leave them 110% satisfied. A problem I alone had the keys to fix, so long as it was within the exceptionally narrow purview of the types of problems I was trained to handle. Thanks for calling Tech Support Megacorp. My name is Clickety, can I have your name and client number, please? There was a long pause and then the person slowly gave me their info. I plugged it into my system and bam. Looked at the client's info. They were based out in Washington State. A very remote office, easily 3 or 4 hours drive from their nearest desk side support analyst. If I couldn't fix their issue, they might not be up and running for days. I was their last hope. So our computer's been running really slow. Guy starts out, and I jump on it. I see. Let me see if you have any hanging processes going on. Do you know what version of Java you're running? Have you recently uninstalled or reinstalled any programs? No to all of these. Our remote session was lagging for sure, but I couldn't find out what was the cause. See, it started after this storm. The guy went on to a ramble about the weather and how they've been dealing with landslides and other unrelated things. Meanwhile, I kept scrounging for data in the system. The processor was just running so slow. And it's been hot and the computer smells pretty funny. I slopped. Smells funny? Have you cleaned it recently to get dust out of it? I felt like a genie ooze. Once he vacuumed that up he'd be all good to go. There was a long pause while the guy presumably took the case off the PC. Then oh god. Slam, over there. Strings of profanity. Then quiet. Sir? I asked after a moment. Are you still there? Is everything okay? No. He shouts. There's a hole in the wall, and it looks like they got in after the storm. God, they've built a hive. What? He repeated himself. So, yeah. Can you get someone out here with a new PC or something? I know it's hard to get someone out here and all. Undeterred, I assured them I'd have someone out as soon as I could. I typed up the ticket and sent it on its way, and I never heard how it got resolved. But I will never forget that ticket as I sent it on its way. And GT, computer completely filled with bees. Sending to desk side support. Learned something important that day. Never take a problem at face value or assume you have all the pertinent info, no matter how usual it may seem. Listen when the customer gives you background info, some of it might be important. And never, ever, choose to work in desk-side repair in the mountains. And that is why, in every code or spreadsheet I've ever written, somewhere you will find the phrase computer completely filled with bees. To remind myself that no matter how much I feel like a genie ooze, there's always room for being completely wrong and completely surprised. Doctor, customer's PC had a bug I wasn't able to fix. And Doctor, customer's PC had multiple bugs I wasn't able to fix. Bees? You should have walked him through setting up a RAID. Completely filled with bees sounds like just the sort of bug a programmer would never think to plan for. If you were a real genie you could have fixed the problem remotely too. And GT, please go to the next gas station and buy a quarter gallon of gasoline. And GT, pour the gasoline over the PC. No need to open it. And GT, throw a match onto the PC. Problem solved remotely. I kept reading Genie Ooze as Genios, like a weird cereal, instead of like Genius. Packed full of delicious Genie crunch. I have a running gag that any problem could be worse because it could be covered in bees. I don't think I can use it anymore for fear of tempting fate.